Yeah, that's right, we're back in the back garden. And today I'm pretty excited because by the end of the afternoon, there's every chance we're going to be enjoying a bit of a skateboarding session. Now, viewers from way back when may remember that I built my own backyard mini ramp. It was where I learned a lot of my early tricks, and I have fond memories of that mini ramp. Sadly, it had to go when I moved house, and since moving to Cornwall, there's been a lot of skate parks opened up, and also a mini ramp wouldn't really fit that well in this back garden. It'd take up a lot of space. So the idea of having another mini ramp has sort of stayed on the shelf. But I'm pretty excited that the guys from Inflatable are coming down with a temporary mini ramp solution. Believe it or not, it's an inflatable mini ramp. So they're going to come in, pump this bad boy up, and we're going to give it a whirl. I'm pretty intrigued as to how an inflatable mini ramp would work. How does it skate? How long does it take to put up? But luckily, Gareth from Inflatable is here to fill us in on all of the nitty gritty.
So it takes about 20 minutes from start to finish. The inflation time is about 10 to 15 minutes, about another 5-10 to put the boards on. Depends how quick you are. We're pit stop quick, so we can have you up and skating within 20 minutes. So the biggest piece on it is the middle panel, which is 4 foot by 4 foot. The two inflatable sections fold down into their own meter by meter packages, about 80 kilos each, so you can do it on your own if you're strong. Go check out inflatable.com. You can buy ramps through us. We do longer term rentals. We are currently in Cardiff, but we're looking to expand through different satellite groups here and there, start different skate schools and groups and community events, and generally just evolve into the world of skateboarding, trying to bring a change to the game. It floats. You can float it across the lake, take it surfing if you want. You can do anything you want. So it packs down. You can even pack it down to a little trailer on a quad bike, take it up a mountain. So we've had 5-year-olds dropping in. We've had teenagers dropping in. We've had loads of kids that have never touched a skateboard before coming in, dropping in within the first 20 minutes of being in our class.
Okay, we had a bit of a session on the ramp last night, and it's a lot of fun. Everyone took a bit of a tumble, and it was nice to see the kids laughing it off instead of having a bit of an emotional tear in the eye. Now, I took the platforms off because they're made of wood. I didn't want to get those wet. There was a little bit of rain last night. So I've dried the ramp off super quick as it's only 4 foot wide. I'm going to pop those platforms back on and also give it just a little bit more air because the ramp has got a bit of a release valve. So when you do take a big slam on it, it pushes the air out as opposed to popping the structure. Okay, so I'm just going to bring out the platform. This is made out of wood. As you can see, it's got some weight saving, strengthening measures going on. This just goes on the top. Everything sort of velcros on. So if I get this clipped in, there's a healthy amount of coping. And on the other side, we've got the Volcano, which we're not currently using. I think the kids had a good time knee sliding down onto the grass. But if this was on concrete, you could run this ramp as a sort of dropping in one-hit wonder and then also have the mini ramp running at the same time. So that's literally as simple as it gets. A nice healthy amount of coping. These are sort of like a composite material, and we're going to see what these feel like to lock into, but that is good to go. So I'm just going to pop a bit more air in. Now this is sort of the same technology as a stand-up paddleboard. So anybody that's had a go on a stand-up paddleboard will know how this all works. But if I pop this in, just give it a little bit of a push in and then spin it round and then start up the pump. Woohoo! So there's your release valve there. Some air will come out of there if you give it a good old solid slam. Okay, so we're good to go, all pumped up, decks are on. I think my big enemy today is going to be the wet grass, so I'm going to try not to come off, but I've got a bit of a towel prepared. With these composite riding surfaces, it's fair to say that you don't want too much moisture on there, just keep it nice and grippy. So I'll get up on the deck. Oh my goodness. From up here, it looks absolutely mental. It won't show up in the video, but this is 4 foot wide. I've got my regular Andy Anderson deck, so I'm going to drop in, see if I can get a rock to fakie. Woo! Oh yeah, well that is a lot smoother than I was expecting it to be, and it's also a lot stiffer. It's quite quick. I was expecting it to be more like a resi ramp, but it's not. It's more like a mini ramp. So, bit of a rock fakie to tail stall. Wonder if we can get a little axle stall going on this coping. Yep. That works an absolute treat. It is so fun to be skating in the back garden again. And this inflatable ramp is a lot more solid than I was expecting. Coping works really well for the lock-in on the axle stall. I can see myself getting carried away here. Woo! Oh! Crikey, I'm finding if I pump too hard, this surface is so smooth and so solid that just fly out like I did on that one. Man, this is a lot of fun. It really doesn't feel a million miles away from my old ramp in Poole. It's sort of the same amount of flat bottom, the same amount of coping, maybe a little bit smaller than my one in Poole, but still totally rideable. Absolutely fine to do tricks on. I reckon another key advantage is how quiet this mini ramp is compared to conventional mini ramps. I reckon that's a big bonus if you're using it in the backyard setting. My old mini ramp made a right load of old noise. Even if I tried to dampen it down, there was still the noise of rolling and also the clickety-clack on the coping when the trucks hit it. The coping here is composite material, so going into an axle stall it doesn't make too much noise, and also that low thud that tends to carry miles is alleviated by the fact that the riding surface is on this big mattress. So I'm going to do a couple of runs without my talking mic on, just so you can hear the amount of ambient noise this ramp makes. That's got to be one of the most pleasant falls to flat I've ever had. Really didn't hurt at all, it just made me giggle. And I tried to do a run there that exposed the most sort of noisy common tricks that you get to see on a mini ramp. Hopefully that'll give you an idea of how much noise this kicks out. And then the big explosion at the end to give you an idea of the noisiest this could possibly be. So I reckon it's worth just talking through the construction in a little bit more detail. Obviously you saw the time lapse of it going together. But basically it's 2 halves and this is inflatable. And if you've ever come across a sort of stand-up paddleboard that's a pump-up one, this is a very similar feel of construction and technology. There are composite sheets on the top and these are formed into rigid structures. I thought this was going to be more like a resi sort of thing, but this is actually more like sort of chopping board material. It's really stiff. And everywhere where it joins, you can see there's a sort of pad to spread the weight, and also there's a bevel in the top of that pad which locks the two together, and all of these panels just dovetail in together. It's a really clever design, and it finishes off by dovetailing into the top of the coping, as you can see there. The middle is just joined by a big bit of Velcro, and all of these sheets sit on the top with Velcro. And I have to say, it's pretty clever how solid this feels. There's not really a lot of giving it at all. Well, that's it for this video, and that was a lot of fun. Overall, I really enjoyed riding this ramp, and I have to say the nippers absolutely loved it. I think just taking the pressure out of making tricks and taking a bit of that anxiety out of hurting yourself is definitely a positive thing for learning. And I reckon this ramp's real USP is the fact that it is super safe to learn on. Obviously, it's never going to be a full-on rigid ramp, so it's worth going into it knowing that this ramp has got certain things that it does better, such as its portability, the speed at which you can set it up, and also that comfier landing that gives you a little bit more confidence. I think for beginners and for learning tricks, it's absolutely amazing. It is quite narrow at 4 foot, and that takes a little bit of getting used to. I just rode my regular Andy Anderson setup with 58mm wheels, 99A, and on this surface there was plenty of grip. I certainly never felt like I was going to sort of slip off. Well, they do make an 8 foot wide version of this ramp, and I reckon that might be the sweet spot, just a little bit more width. I think the most terrifying thing about riding this ramp is the thought of falling off onto the hard surface, cavorting over the side, and then still landing on something hard, even though the grass is still pretty soft. Anyway, enough of my yakking. Many thanks to Gareth and Ian for bringing the ramp down from Cardiff. If you want more information on anything to do with the Evolution ramp, then please do hit them up. They're the UK distributors, so you can purchase this ramp through them, and you can also book sessions where they'll come out and do coaching and also parties or events. I'll leave all the details in the description below. Also, if you're new to the channel, feel free to hit subscribe. I make new videos all the time, and you can also follow me on Instagram at John Bishop Skate. As ever, my name's been John Bishop, and I'm a middle-aged guy learning how to skate.